And now, a special edition of the Toddcast podcast.
Regardless of what you do for a living, we all have these things or moments we would call best of our jobs. You build homes. Well, the one you just completed blows everyone away. You work at a car dealership selling cars. You sold 4 cars in one day. You own a comic book store, and Todd McFarlane comes and works your cash register for an afternoon. Whatever the line of work is, we all have best of moments, and that's what you'll hear about this week. We'll look back over the last little while and highlight our last 9 guest interviews and the best of moments. We'll get to the musical guests in just a second. Coming up shortly, in Stop Me If You've Heard This Before, former Bellator MMA ring card girl and current podcaster Mercedes Terrell talks about career highlights, and it may surprise you to hear what she puts at the top. That is powered by FKP MMA. My little guy Levi has been going there for, I guess, about a year now and absolutely loves it. Learns self-defense, self-discipline from the best in the biz. Vancouver's #1 training destination at fkpmma.com. First, let's get to some highlights from our more recent musical guests in this Best of podcast. Back in May, you may remember we had on this year's Grammy Awards winner for the Best Latin Album, Alex Cuba was a guest. Alex recorded the Grammy Award-winning Mendo album at his home, in fact, in his living room in Smithers, northern BC. He moved to Canada after growing up in Cuba, just outside of Havana. He talked about the drag of COVID and finding inspiration during the pandemic. We got into the shows that he was binge watching. We talked about baseball and karate, and bodybuilding came up. And you'll love how Alex found out that he won the Grammy for Best Latin Pop Album. He's driving through a snowstorm.
Well, it is definitely the biggest prize that music has all over the world. You know, it's the biggest award for music. And just in the personal, what I think once in a while is, man, this is the award that heroes, you know, people that I look up to, people that have changed the course of music, like, I don't know, Michael Jackson, Earth, Wind and Fire, you name it, right? And I'm like, this is the same award again, because it's the American Grammy. And in Latin music, it's the biggest category, you know, so to win for a dude from Cuba that emigrated to Canada 23 years ago, that came to Smithers almost 20 years ago, that recorded this album in his living room, to win this thing down there is mentally dangerous. Let's just put it that way. It's mentally dangerous.
You'll know Xavier Amin de Frepeles as Fantastic Negrito, American blues, roots, R&B singer-songwriter, and the fact that he's won the Best Contemporary Blues Album Grammy Award 3 times. In 2016 for his album The Last Days of Oakland, in 2019 for his album Please Don't Be Dead, and then again for his 2020 album Have You Lost Your Mind Yet? Xavier is the 8th of 15 kids and the only one, he says, that's musically inclined. We talked about creativity when he was on the podcast, seeing NWA in concert at a roller skating rink. That would have been rad. Going to punk shows in Berkeley, California. We jumped on a Zoom right around the time that the Depp and the Heard defamation case was going on. So we talked a bit about that. Interesting take he had for that. Zeppelin came up, so did the NBA and the Warriors, Inspiration, one of the best music documentaries of all time. If you have not seen this, Summer of Soul needs to be on your watch list. And Xavier talked about ancestry links and really digging into the results and being surprised at what he found.
I discovered that I'm 28% white. I mean, basically that's what happened. I mean, I get these ancestry links that someone had sent me. And, you know, I saw these pictures on my mother's maternal side of these well-dressed African-Americans. So I'm thinking, isn't this the time of slavery? Like, why are you well-dressed?
Right.
Makes no sense. So I'm digging through the files. You ever been on there?
No, not me personally. No, I haven't. But I've got buddies who have done it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I see this paperwork. It says registered free Negroes. I'm like, registered free. How did that happen? You know, I'm going to the 3rd generation, Fourth generation, which is unheard of for us because how we got here.
Sure.
Fifth generation, sixth generation. Now I'm like, come on, man. I keep retracing it back till it gets to a paper in the seventh generation. One document, and then there's a name of a woman. It says Elizabeth Gallimore, presented in Amelia County Court for unlawfully cohabitating with a Negro slave belonging to Henry Jones, Virginia. And I thought, wow, these are probably exactly the people that I'm related to, rule breakers.
Yeah.
Breakers.
And it's hard to believe that GWAR has been around since 1984, isn't it? 24 million streams, over 15 million video views. You've seen them featured in Blabbermouth, Metal Sucks, Rolling Stone, NME. They're close to 1 million physical albums sold. What do you get when you mix political and social satire, sci-fi, horror, graphic violence, fake blood, urine, semen, rock and roll? It sounds like the start of a joke. GWAR was about to release their new album, their 15th, The New Dark Ages, right around the time of this interview. Their singer Blothar jumped on the Zoom with us. We talked about stifled creativity during the pandemic, the concept of sex and violence in their live shows. The Grammys came up. They've been nominated a couple times. So did living in Florida, watching My 600-Pound Life, seeing The Pretenders and The Alarm in concert. And Blothar talked about the music in his house as a kid growing up and credits his grandma for helping him find Kiss.
I was unfortunately exposed to a lot, let me tell you.
Yes, we're talking music here, but yeah.
My mother was a cow, a giant cow. And my fathers, I have multiple fathers, they were a race of frost giants who slept with my mother, the cow, although it wasn't rape. She enjoyed it. But she welcomed these all comers, so to speak. But I'm actually a dwarf, but I am a giant dwarf. So it sort of balances out, believe it or not.
Right.
Yeah. But, at my house, what we would listen to, I was raised singing the songs of my people. With just ridiculous mountain hymnals, religious music. That's what was in my house, and it's actually how I came to learn how to sing or to understand music was through singing these songs of spiritual songs of praise. And then at some point, I realized, wow, this is just a bunch of bullshit. And so I began to be more interested in what was on the radio. Things like, I will say that my first exposure to Kiss was my grandmother had a Kiss record. I don't know why. I have no idea, but I'll never forget it. I was sitting there looking through records, and there was a Freddie Fender record that I would play a lot. And then one day I just found a Kiss record. It was Rock and Roll Over. And I played it and was very, very impressed by it. So, when I was growing up, though, I did grow up in a family that participated in religious music a lot.
Red Truck Beer. Nothing delivers like a red truck. Official beer of the Toddcast podcast.
Hauntingly familiar.
And now, stop me if you've heard this before on the Toddcast podcast.
MMA fight fans will know Mercedes Terrell. She's a longtime former ring card girl for Bellator MMA. And you should also check out her excellent podcast she did with Jade Bryce called the Magic Hour Podcast. A quick search. It doesn't look like they've got new episodes out since the summer of 2021, but it's great programming and hopefully they're just on a hiatus. Now, since then, she started up Mercedes and the Chap, which aims at addressing personal struggles with their viewers, 5 million of them, in fact. And when Mercedes was a guest, she talked about social media and navigating those waters, binge watching the Ted Bundy documentary on Netflix, whether aliens have visited Earth. We talked about cooking, traveling the world, legalized marijuana, working out. She shared a couple near-death stories, cheat foods, superpowers both came up. So did her love of Israel and the Middle East. And stop me if you've heard this before, Mercedes shared her career highlight, and it wasn't MMA related, but rather podcasting.
For sure, my career highlight thus far has been starting this podcast with Jade Bryce called The Magic Hour. And I don't know about you with your podcast, but this thing has allowed me to just be completely transparent and I think find a lot of myself and be able to experiment with new techniques and tools and implement them into my life, and then meet so many new people, especially doing interviews with them, which you probably get some of that on your show.
Lots.
And the benefits of what come with that. So just expanding my community and getting to know myself better and then getting to know my own tribe, better and building my own tribe, like I was saying earlier, has been amazing. And then this weekend, like I said, we are going to actually have a live event during South by Southwest in Austin, Texas at On It Gym. And we're having 3 guests come and we'll do live interviews in front of the audience, but then we're also going to do movement-based workshops with each of the guests. They're all into, one's, if you know, Align podcast with Aaron Alexander. He's coming and he's going to do an articulated stretch workshop with us and breathwork workshop with us. And then Melody F. Kami, she's got this ggreundbreaking groundbreaking dance class that she's going to have us work through.
Wow. And
Parangi, who is the number one dude in ecstatic dance, which I think is a method that's going to change the world little by little here.
Stop Me If You've Heard This Before on the Toddcast podcast is powered by FKP MMA, Vancouver's #1 training destination at fkpmma.com.
My heart stays How's it so easy for you to lie? Tell me you need me and turn around and leave me high and dry. How's it so easy for you to lie? You say that you're lonely, even though you got me by your side. How's it so easy for you to lie? How's it so easy for you to lie? Keep that in mind for the next time. Oh, the next time. Keep that in mind for the next time. Yeah. Oh, the next time.
And we are hearing some solid work coming out of the Danny Craig Production Studios. Man, those guys can play. The band is Spendo, and their latest single is called Easy to Lie. And they are the next band that you will see at the podcast Blue Light Sessions at the Blue Light Studio, East Vancouver. And we do these things monthly. It's the last Saturday of the month. It's $20 in advance. It's $25 if you want to wait for the door and risk it, I guess. I suggest buying tickets right now if you want to get in for sure, because these shows are really starting to pack up. And knowing the boys of Spendo, they will be pushing this show really hard with their friends, their followers. So pick them up right now through eventbrite.ca. That's BRITE, eventbrite.ca. The show, in a nutshell, is the band performs. I'm not sure if they're doing acoustic or if it's fully plugged in. I interview the band throughout the entire performance. You get to ask questions as well. Such a fun night, and I hope you can make it out. I played you Johnny Wrath, and that was their song called Pixie Dust. Here's another awesome Vancouver band that would shine in that sort of setting. Perhaps maybe in the new year we'll see if Johnny Wrath is into doing one of those blue light sessions, because we have all the bands kind of dialed in right now through, I think it's February, maybe just January. Either way, we've got the next few bands booked. Coming up in just a few minutes in Listen to This, multiple award-winning Canadian country artist Brett Kissel talks about the superpower that he would want to have. He thinks it's a lame choice. Personally, I think you're going to love his response. That is powered by Tedco RV Supplies in Langley, good buddies, RV service and repair, ICBC accredited. You can find them online, Facebook, and on Twitter, Tedco RV Supplies. First, more guest highlights in this best of episode, and a few of our more recent sporting guests, all of whom are now powered by Hand Over Hand Textiles in Vancouver. It's natural dyed goods for your home, for your body, pure plant extracts, natural fibers. It's good for Mother Earth, and it's great for gifts as well. Check them out through handoverhandtextiles.com. That's handoverhandtextiles.com. So right before summer, we grabbed Whitecaps FC goalkeeper Thomas Hasal for a quick Zoom, and we got into it talking about like music that was in his house as a kid growing up. He talked about binge watching Suits, which is a great show, of course. The fake crowd noise at pro sports during COVID, growing up in Saskatoon. We talked about pranks, time travel, teleportation. Selena Gomez came up, Moon Knight and the Batman. And Thomas brought up realizing your true potential and how his grandfather inspired him to play the game.
Yeah, it's tough. It was always my dream since as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
I think definitely coming on trial when I was 14 was like, wow, this could be an opportunity and that could lead somewhere one day. And then it really would have been when I was probably 15, 16, when I was like, okay, I really feel like I am good enough to get there and then progress through the stages and get to the next level.
Okay.
Obviously, there was tons and tons of work to be done through there and different steps, coming into the academy, working through the levels, seeing what the first team was like, being with the youth national teams. And then each one of those, you're like, it's almost turning more and more into reality. So there's a lot of different spots in your career where you think like, okay, this is definitely something you could do.
Yeah, for sure. And you credit your grandfather for kind of getting you introduced and really ramped for the sport. He was a a goalkeeper as well, was he not?
Yes, he was. He was a huge soccer fan, biggest one I know, and he would always watch my games, like playing with the national team. He'd be up in Czech Republic at like 3 a.m. watching on the big screen, no matter what. And he was all in it with me. He definitely introduced me, kind of helped me get a passion for the game, and that would have been one of the best things in the world if he was able to see me play with the first team and play professionally.
You've known AEW wrestler Kyle O'Reilly for years. I mean, going back to his time with the ECCW, wrestling locally here in Vancouver before, being invited to the Ring of Honor. That was from 2009 to 2017. Big stretch of time. The WWE picked him up after that, where he wrestled for the NXT brand from 2017 until last year, where he won 3 NXT Tag Team Championships. He's currently, as mentioned, he's wrestling for All Elite Wrestling. Kyle talked about his first wrestling memory during his Zoom with us, seeing the WWE's rock bottom at GM Place. The 2010 Olympics came up, so did Nirvana, Metallica, David Bowie. He shared a story of what he did the night of the Canucks fans riot of 2010. We talked about Weird Al Yankovic, Zeppelin and Queen, Hogan, Steve Austin, comic books, DC, and Marvel. And Kyle talked about how he loved Robert Pattinson's The Batman, which when we talked, I hadn't seen yet. I think it's awesome personally. In fact, it's this review that spurred me into seeing the movie in the first place.
Did you catch the new Batman yet?
No, and I heard it's
Dude,
like sinister
it's so
and dark
sick.
and fucking gritty.
It's the
and
best.
I heard it's like the best one.
It's like, did you ever see the animated series that was during the 90s, Batman, the animated series?
Oh, yeah.
It's very similar to that, but like in a good way. Like it's dark and just, I don't know, man. It's really cool. Okay. And he's like a detective. It's kind of like it's like Seven or like the Zodiac killer movie, Like it's the same thing. Very, yeah.
Do you say it's like the best Batman movie?
I think so. I'm a Batman diehard, so I think it's my favorite Batman for sure.
Wow,
seen it a couple times actually.
Wow, no kidding. Okay,
so you could say I'm binging that. Over and over.
Binging a movie.
Yeah.
And Sports Talk host Dan Russell is likely one of the best to ever do a radio sports show. Damn near 30 years, close to 8,000 shows. And when Dan was a guest, he had just released his national bestseller, Pleasant Good Evening, a memoir, My Wild 30 and Turbulent Years of Sports Talk. The pandemic, thankfully, gave Dan some time to sit down and finally put pen to paper. Great to Zoom with Dan. I mean, we'd worked in the same building together for a minute. It wasn't very long, but our shifts didn't align. So it wasn't like we would see each other in the halls kind of thing. And I really didn't get to know him very well, but I'm a fan of what he does. He's an absolute beast of a broadcaster, and cool to hear him talk about the shows at the time that he was binge watching. And he talked about interviewing Bobby Orr back in the day and seeing Peter Frampton in concert and keeping a diary, this is crazy, of all of his radio shows. We talked about McDavid and the Oilers. Jim Robson and Brian Burke came up. So did the 70s. He shared a near-death story. And Dan talked about the 94 Vancouver Canucks and the fact that Pavel Bure is the best player ever to play on that team all time, right?
I like the 94 team, but I know that's not your question.
Yeah. Boy, that 94 team was something.
They sure were. They were the peak of the franchise to this moment. I mean, it's just too difficult to answer that question. I don't want to skirt it, but it's too difficult because the eras change. That the way the hockey's played, it changes, and of course, Pavel Bure is the greatest player that ever put on a Canuck uniform in terms of sheer talent, but Trevor Linden and Stan Smeel had the biggest heart that you could ever have. I mean, the ingenuity of the Sedin twins was amazing. It was just off the charts amazing. So, the goaltending of McLean in 94, Brodeur in 82, or Luongo in 2011. I mean, it's just all, just too difficult to answer, but, but there's no Stanley Cup banner up there. It's over 50 years. And how long is the wait going to be? And it gets tougher every year because there's now 32 teams in the National Hockey League.
Yeah. Interesting that you brought up Bure. When I mentioned, Dan, that you're going to be on the podcast, of course, I got a bunch of your fans wanted to ask you questions. And Mike says, who is the best Canuck of all time and why is it Pavel Bure?
Way to go, Mike. You got it.
Nailed
yeah,
it.
I mean, the first game that all of us who were old enough to remember, either watching on TV or being, as I was, in the Pacific Coliseum, was just, it was like he took the puck, and people watching or listening to you, they know what this is. I mean, it was about second period. He had a couple of chances around the net before, but in the second period, he took that puck from inside the line, his own blue line, and roared to the other end. And there was a buzz that I had, and I've followed the Canucks. I was the perfect age when they came in. So I have the entire franchise in my head, the history. So I was 10 years old in 1970. I had never seen, and nobody had ever felt that buzz in the Coliseum. And he did not score on that goal, on that play. But there was a buzz like, wow, we have a player here. We have a Bobby Orr type. We have a Guy Lafleur type. We have a Mary, whoever it is. I mean, I'm not saying he's those, but we,
that
collective we in Vancouver, had never seen a player like that. And that one rush from inside his own line to the Winnipeg Jets goal crease or thereabouts, I think was so memorable because it was such a first, and it set the tone for what would happen the rest of the way. And of course, that culminated in Game 7 of round 1 in '94 when Jeff Brown feeds him that perfect pass, and he goes in double overtime. Is that double overtime or overtime? I'm trying to get my overtime straight. And he won the game in the series, and the Canucks were on their way. And a couple rounds later, they'd be playing Game 7 in the Stanley Cup Final.
Nude Vodka Soda powers the Toddcast podcast. Sugar and sweetener free with just 100 calories and 0 carbs per serving. Visit them online at nudebeverages.com.
When you're alone, all alone.
The Toddcast podcast is powered by Milano Coffee, bringing you the finest espresso and coffee concepts in the world. Online at milanocoffee.ca.
And now, listen to this on the Toddcast podcast.
Canadian country artist Brett Kissel is the real deal. Born and raised in Flat Lake, Alberta, grew up on a cattle ranch, got his first guitar at the age of 6. Fast forward 6 years to the age of 12, Brett released his first album called Keepin' It Country. Brett was nominated for the Chevy Trucks Rising Star Award at the CCMAs in 2006. He was only 16 at the time, making him the youngest nominee in the history of the award show. In 2013, he signed a recording deal with Warner Music Canada. The next year, he won his first Juno Award for the Breakthrough Artist of the Year. He's cleaned up at the CCMAs, winning Male Artist of the Year, Interactive Artist of the Year, Country Music Program or Special of the Year, Video of the Year. He won Country Album of the Year at this year's Junos. He's legit. Multiple #1 songs. He's even opened up a tour for Garth Brooks. And when Brett was a guest, we talked about binge-watching shows, Peaky Blinders, Boardwalk Empire. Legalized marijuana came up. So did the Eagles documentary that was on Netflix. He shared stories about growing up in Alberta, the music that was in his house as a kid growing up. He shared a near-death story. And Brett talked about superpowers and the power that he'd want to have. Listen to this.
It's very interesting because I'm going to do something that a lot of people would think is lame, but I would do something like this. I would love nothing more than to communicate with animals. I wish that I could hear what they're saying. I wish I could hear what they're thinking, and I could communicate with them on a really, really great way. And then, of course, Marvel got involved. That way I can rally a herd of grizzly bears to go in and do all my killing for me. But I'm saying on a silly note, I love my wiener dog Charlie with all my heart. And my wife and I joke that he is our firstborn. We've got 2 beautiful daughters, but our first kid was Charlie. So I wish I could communicate with him and really become even better friends with Charlie by communicating with dogs. So if I could have that as a superpower, that would probably be the thing.
Listen to this on the Toddcast podcast is brought to you by Tedco RV Supplies in Langley, an ICBC-approved repair shop. Visit them on Facebook and Twitter at Tedco RV Supplies.
is Dead Quiet and their awesome song called Atoned Deaf. And you're only about a month and a half away now from seeing these guys live. They've played for the podcast before, an absolutely crushing live band. This time around, Dead Quiet are playing November 25th in Vancouver, East Vancouver, at the Wise Hall. Neck of the Woods is on the bill as well. They're arguably the best of that genre, the progressive metal. Incision and Geel are also on the bill. It's $20 in advance. It's $25 if you wait for the door. You heard Minefield. That was their song called Alone Together, and that's Todd Kearns singing with that band. I don't know that they're doing much in terms of touring right now, although grab that debut album. Solid, top to bottom. Love to see these guys live. Definitely will be keeping an ear to the ground and watch for a Vancouver show. I won't miss it if and when that comes through. Speaking of live music, find a small list of indie shows happening at the indie scene at toddhancock.ca. If you're playing a show, if you're checking it out, if it's indie, let us know about it. We'll post it up at the website. That is brought to you by our buddies at Mystic Rhythms Rehearsal Studios. Amazing jam spaces. Every band I've talked to absolutely loves it there. 40 plus years experience in the music industry. Find out more through mysticrhythms.ca. Okay, our final guests of this episode 283, a handful of our more recent entertainment lifestyle guests. That is powered by Canuck Auctions, Canada's largest memorabilia and collectibles auction house. Comic books, sports memorabilia, things that will literally blow your mind. You're not going to believe what you find there and the gems, the deals that are at canuckauctions.com. You heard certified sex therapist Dr. Emily Jamia on the podcast back in May of this year. We kind of just honestly stumbled across her page on Instagram. She has a really great account, just super positive vibes, great video content. She's just real, honest, professional advice on relationships. And we really got into it with Dr. Jamea, talking about experimenting in the bedroom and gaining trust in a relationship. She shared a near-death story, talked about seeing Alanis Morissette and the Chili Peppers in concert. PDA, public display of affection, PDA came up. And the fact that female Viagra does not exist, although they are working on it. And Dr. Jamea talked about being friend-zoned and getting out of it. Or do you even want to get out of it? Is it worth it? Trying too hard, maybe coming off the wrong way.
You know, I think I had a question come through that was kind of similar to this, that it was a guy who was so afraid of coming off as like predatory or pushy that he kind of like disconnected from his sexual energy when interacting with women. And I'm just wondering if maybe that could be what's happening a little bit here. You know, obviously we needed the Me Too movement and a lot needs to change in terms of consent and patriarchy and all of those things. But I think a lot of men feel a little inhibited or scared to come off too strong. And so it's a really fine line, I think, between developing the skills you need to communicate an interest sexually and to flirt and to find banter and to make that clear for people. And so I'm wondering if maybe it's that, if that is in part what might be going on for this guy.
Could be also the other side of the coin where maybe he's just a bit of a pushover. Like, again, we don't really know the specifics of Patrick.
Yeah, hard to say.
Here, but, maybe it's just that he needs to take the bull by the horns.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, be a little more assertive. Yeah. And people can be assertive and clear about their interest while also, being respectful and, maintaining boundaries. But it's something a lot of times I think people just have to experiment with trial and error before they can find a good balance between the two.
When we had on voiceover actor Amanda Sellers on the podcast, you heard about perseverance and hard work, dedication, and honing your craft. It is a super rewarding career that you can do from home in your pajamas, of course. And we've known Amanda for probably a couple decades now. Originally meeting her as the indie artist Amanda Sonic. This was back when I was still doing radio in Vancouver, doing CFox's afternoon show. I was also the indie music director for the station. So it was great to catch up with Amanda, who is now a voice of the podcast. Amanda, after we did our chat, she had emailed and offered to do some voice work, and As you might expect, I jumped at the chance. She's one of the best in the biz, so you'll hear Amanda here and there now throughout the podcast, given this is brought to you by or whatever. Very cool. She talked about the industry, of course, when we jumped on Zoom. She told stories about doing the West Coast Trail. We talked about eating vegetarian, working at Hooters came up. Willie Nelson, Madonna, GNR, seeing Tiffany in concert, voicing commercials for Ziploc, Expedia, Febreze. I mean, these are freaking huge brands. Creating thevoiceoverschool.com. If you're curious about voice work, hey, everyone's got a voice. Why not get paid to do it?
Like I played music for so many years. I ended up down in LA and I was touring all across the United States with my band. My drummer and my guitar player both went to Harvard Business School. So they ran the band like a business, as all bands do, but they were like just so, I learned so much from them, and we lived out of our van. Like we put all of our belongings in storage and lived in this 15-passenger van. And I saw like every nook and cranny of the US, which was
so cool.
Yeah, it was like free, free education and all the people that we met. It was really incredible. But then my band broke up. I'm like, what am I going to do? And I ended up going from LA back to Saskatchewan, and I was offered a radio job. And I wasn't into radio, Todd. it wasn't really my thing. But, when you do the pre-production before you go into work, the second that I did the voiceover, for the local car company, I was hooked. I absolutely loved it. And I just knew that I had to find a way to make that my job. And I just, went crazy, got up at 5 a.m, just one of those, just really determined to make it happen. So that was like 15 years ago. So it's been a while.
And we met matchmaker and dating coach Katie Clark through Instagram and immediately knew that it was somebody that we wanted to have on as a guest. You've seen her on the Food Network star, in Shape magazine, America's 50 Hottest Trainers. She's held the title of Mrs. Long Beach, another super fun follow on social media. She runs Dating with Katie, putting singles together, basically. And when we jumped on a Zoom together, she talked about why you don't want to get out of the friend zone. The music of the Beatles, Snoop Dogg, and Prince came up. So did vacationing in Cancun, seeing R. Kelly in concert. She shared a falling asleep at the wheel story. We talked about binge watching shows, the keys to healthy relationships. She had some dating rules that you should really know. And Katie talked about how social media and dating apps in general have changed the dating world.
Oh, social media on top of dating apps has changed the game. This idea and picture of, meet organically. I love when people tell me that. I'm like, okay, you're living in La La Land. And I literally live in La La Land. There's too much of La La going on. But social media has created this speed bump. And I call it a speed bump because some people take it quickly. Some people slow down for it. But it creates this illusion sometimes and almost this discouragement in dating, because people will check out people's social media. And I've done reels on this, like women are looking at a man's social media. As a matter of fact, I encourage people not to be on social media, men especially. And if you are for business purposes or just for family, but if you're following thousands of women and they're half naked, no woman is secure with that. And if they say they are, that's okay. But then at the same time, I hear men complain about women's social media, that they look selfish, selfies all by themselves. And they think to themselves, is this the woman I'm going to marry? And their social media turns off the whole thing, and boom, everyone's like done. They quit. They jump ship really fast because of social media.
Toddcast Podcast entertainment guest visits are powered by Canuck Auctions, Canada's largest memorabilia and collectibles auction house. Find them online at canuckauctions.com.
Cobra Ramon, and one of the first songs I was introduced to them by, it's called Wrath Like a City. Great live band, by the way. If you get a chance to see them, do it. They've played a couple, 3 shows maybe for the podcast over the years. In fact, was hanging out with Cobra a little bit at the JP Maurice Dominic Frico show that we did at Green Auto in East Vancouver just a couple of months back now. Put the bug in her ear, saying maybe you guys should do one of those blue light sessions with us. So you may see that happen sooner than later. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Looking forward to next week, the second part of our Best of podcasts, and you'll hear some more guest highlights from our more recent interviews. Now, these are really fun weeks to put together. Please tell your friends about what we're doing here on the podcast. You can subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube. Of course, comment and rate the podcast. It helps out big time. Search it out through Toddcast Podcast. And that's going to do it for this one, episode 283, as we put a bow on this week. And my name is Todd Hancock. Thank you so much for listening, for choosing to be here. We don't take that lightly. We won't take it for granted, of course. Huge thanks to all of our spectacular sponsors. You can find all sponsor websites at toddhancock.ca right on our homepage. And if you'd like to sponsor the podcast, did you know you can for as little as $10 a day? Contact info. It's at the homepage. And did you know also, if you help us find a sponsor, we will give you a commission based on the initial ad buy. If you know a business that should sponsor us, send them our way. We'll take it from there. Till next time, don't be an asshole. Nobody wants to be around that. Nobody. Have fun, play hard, and most of all, believe in yourself. Do it.
The Toddcast Podcast. Keep in touch with Todd through Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and bookmark toddhancock.ca.
Now, before you go hunting for something else to listen to, let me make it easy. I'm Mike Carruthers, host of a podcast called Something You Should Know, and I speak with experts about fascinating things that affect your life, from human behavior, relationships, health, science, and everyday mysteries. We've been downloaded millions of times because every episode teaches you something you'll be talking about later. Open up Something You Should Know and give it one episode. You might just find your new favorite podcast.
The Tudors were probably the most scandalous dynasty in British history. This season on Vulgar History, we're spilling the tea on this messy, messed up family and the people who had to live through it all. Anne Boleyn and the other wives of Henry VIII are known today from the musical Six, but who were they really? Did any of them actually want to marry him? Henry VIII, the man who was literally the worst? How did 2 of them manage to escape with their heads intact? We'll also get into historical mysteries, like who really wrote Shakespeare's plays? Who was the real Bloody Mary? And what was happening elsewhere in the world while the Tudors were trampling all over England, like the mysterious disappearance of the Roanoke colony and the true story of the girl known as Pocahontas. I'll be joined by Tudor historians, experts, and a few of my friends who really hate Henry VIII to learn all about the Tudors this season on Vulgar History. Because it's Henry VIII all day, every day. Listen to Vulgar History wherever you get podcasts.
For 8 years, we've been asking the same question over and over again. How did this happen? My name's Mandy.
And I'm Melissa, and we're the hosts of Moms and Mysteries, the true crime podcast with over 55 million downloads.
We're 2 Florida moms who are obsessed with mysteries. Each week, we do deep dives into fascinating true crime stories.
We cover everything from infamous cases like Casey Anthony
to the bizarre and complex crimes right here in our home state, like the shocking murder of FSU professor Dan Markell.
We bring you the facts, but with warmth and wit you'd only get from 2 friends who have been hooked on mysteries since childhood.
Join us for new episodes of Moms and Mysteries every Tuesday and Thursday.
Listen to Moms and Mysteries on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast.